My friends, there are moments in life when we are struck down, not by the arrows of misfortune, but by the sharp tongues of others. To be humiliated in front of an audience is not merely a wound to our pride, but a test of our character. And though it may sting, I urge you to see it not as the end of your dignity, but as the beginning of a profound opportunity. When someone humiliates you, the temptation is immediate and strong to retaliate, to defend, or to wither under the weight of shame. Yet I say to you, do not give in to these impulses, for they are the lesser paths. Instead, pause. The first act of true strength is restraint. It takes no skill to lash out, no wisdom to hurl insults in return, but to remain calm and unmoved. That is the mark of one who understands their worth, does not hang on the words of others. You see, humiliation is a curious thing. Its power lies not in the act itself, but in how we choose to respond to it. The moment you refuse to give it authority over your spirit, it loses its sting. Remember this: no one can truly rob you of your dignity unless you surrender it. When faced with humiliation or provocation, the instinct to retaliate or defend oneself often feels overwhelming. It is natural to want to protect our pride or set the record straight. However, true strength lies not in yielding to this impulse, but in exercising restraint. The act of holding back, of choosing silence or a measured response, requires a depth of character and self-control that few possess, but all can aspire to. Likewise, we too are capable of manipulating time. Restraint is not weakness. On the contrary, it is a testament to one's ability to rise above the moment, to see beyond the immediate sting of words or actions. It requires courage to resist the urge to lash out, especially when emotions are running high and the stakes feel personal. A hasty reaction may provide temporary satisfaction, but it often comes at the cost of long-term peace and dignity. Words spoken in anger or retaliation can leave lasting damage, not only to relationships, but also to one's own reputation. In moments of humiliation, restraint demonstrates a profound level of emotional intelligence. It shows that one is not controlled by the behavior of others, but is instead guided by their own principles and values. To remain calm in the face of insult is to declare without words that one's self-worth does not depend on external validation. It is an act of quiet defiance, a refusal to allow another person's cruelty or thoughtlessness to dictate one's state of mind. Restraint also allows for clarity. In the heat of the moment, emotions cloud judgment, and decisions made in anger are often regretted later. By pausing, by choosing to breathe rather than react, one gains the opportunity to reflect and respond thoughtfully. This measured approach not only prevents further escalation, but also often leaves the aggressor unsettled. There is a certain power in calmness that disrupts the expectations of those who seek to provoke. Moreover, restraint fosters respect. While a heated response might win the approval of a few in the moment, it is the ability to remain composed that earns admiration in the long run. Those who master the art of restraint often become sources of inspiration for others. They show that strength is not about dominating or overpowering others, but about controlling oneself. This kind of strength is far more enduring and impactful than any fleeting victory gained through confrontation. It is also worth noting that restraint is not passivity. Choosing not to retaliate does not mean accepting injustice or condoning harmful behavior. Rather, it is about picking the right moment and method to address the issue, if it needs addressing at all. Sometimes, silence speaks louder than words, and walking away can be the most powerful statement of all. Ultimately, restraint is a skill that grows with practice. It requires patience, humility, and an unwavering belief in one's own inner strength. By choosing restraint, one not only avoids unnecessary conflict, but also cultivates a sense of peace and self-respect that no external force can take away. It is in this calm, quiet resolve that true power resides. Humiliation is an experience that can shake even the strongest among us. It feels like a wound inflicted in public, where one's dignity is laid bare for others to judge. However, the true power of humiliation does not lie in the act itself, but in how we choose to respond to it. While the initial sting may seem unavoidable, the way we handle such moments determines whether they become a source of growth or a lingering scar. When someone humiliates you, it is natural to feel anger, shame, or the desire to retaliate. These emotions arise because humiliation often strikes at our sense of identity and self-worth. But the reality is that the words or actions of another person cannot truly define us. Their power exists only in the meaning we assign to them. If we allow their judgment to shape our self-perception, we inadvertently grant them control over our emotions and sense of value. By choosing a composed and thoughtful response, we reclaim that power for ourselves. Reacting impulsively to humiliation often magnifies the situation. Anger or retaliation may seem like a defense, but it often feeds the very narrative the humiliator intended to create. A heated argument or a desperate attempt to explain oneself can shift attention from the offender's actions to our reaction, giving them an unintended victory. On the other hand, a calm and measured response demonstrates resilience and self-assurance, signaling that our worth is not contingent on external opinions. There is a quiet dignity in not reacting immediately. By taking a moment to pause, we create space to reflect. This pause allows us to assess whether the humiliator's words or actions truly warrant a response, or if they are better ignored. Often, those who seek to humiliate others are projecting their own insecurities or frustrations. Recognizing this can help us detach emotionally from the situation and see it for what it is, a reflection of their character, not ours. Furthermore, responding with grace or humor can diffuse the tension. A kind word or a light-hearted remark in the face of humiliation can disarm the aggressor and shift the narrative. It transforms what could have been a moment of weakness into a demonstration of strength and composure. Such a response often leaves a lasting impression on those who witness it, earning their respect and admiration. It is important to remember that no one escapes moments of humiliation in life. These experiences, while painful, are opportunities for growth. They challenge us to confront our vulnerabilities and strengthen our sense of self. By responding thoughtfully, we shift the focus from the humiliation itself to our ability to rise above it. In the end, humiliation only holds as much power as we allow it to. By refusing to let it define us, by responding with clarity, confidence, and grace, we transform a moment of adversity into a testament to our inner strength. It is in these moments that we truly discover who we are and what we stand for. The desire for approval is deeply rooted in human nature. We are social beings, and being accepted by others often feels essential to our sense of belonging. However, seeking approval from the crowd, especially in moments of vulnerability, can be a dangerous trap. The opinions of the masses are fickle and ever-changing, and relying on them to validate our worth can lead to disappointment, insecurity, and a lack of authenticity. True strength comes from resisting this urge and finding validation within ourselves. Having pride, having hope, having self-control from the selves, rather than from external sources. The crowd is rarely consistent in its judgments. What it praises one day, it may ridicule the next. Opinions are often swayed by superficial factors, momentary trends, or the influence of dominant voices. When you hinge your self-worth on such an unstable foundation, you risk becoming a prisoner to the shifting tides of public opinion. This dependence can lead to anxiety, as you constantly adjust your behavior to meet the crowd's expectations, often at the expense of your own principles and identity. End footnote. In moments of humiliation, the crowd's reaction can amplify your discomfort. Laughter, jeers, or even silence can feel like a collective judgment against you. The natural response might be to try and win their favor, explaining yourself, retaliating, or seeking sympathy. But this approach often backfires. The crowd, being an impersonal and transient entity, is unlikely to grant the validation you seek. Instead, it is better to acknowledge that their opinions are neither the ultimate measure of your worth nor a reliable reflection of the truth. Choosing not to seek approval from the crowd liberates you. It allows you to act with integrity, guided by your values rather than external pressures. When you stop caring about what others think, you gain the freedom to respond to situations in a way that aligns with your true self. This authenticity is far more powerful and enduring than any fleeting validation the crowd might offer. Moreover, by not seeking approval, you command respect. People admire those who are self-assured and unshaken by public opinion. When you demonstrate that your confidence comes from within, you set an example that others are drawn to. Ironically, this often leads to the very approval you no longer seek, an approval based on admiration rather than appeasement. It is also worth noting that the crowd's perspective is often shallow. Most people are too preoccupied with their own concerns to give sustained thought to anyone else's situation. What feels like the spotlight of judgment is often just a passing glance. Recognizing this can help put things in perspective, reducing the weight of the crowd's reaction. Ultimately, the most important approval you can seek is your own. When you act in alignment with your values and beliefs, you build a sense of self-respect that no external opinion can diminish. The crowd's favor may come and go, but the confidence born of self-assurance is enduring. By focusing inward rather than outward, you rise above the transient judgments of others, grounded in the unshakable knowledge of your own worth. In a world often defined by conflict and competition, it is easy to fall into the trap of responding to aggression with more aggression. The instinctive reaction to an attack, whether verbal, emotional, or physical, is to defend oneself, sometimes even with equal or greater force. Yet, it is precisely in moments of tension that kindness proves to be an unexpected and powerful antidote. Kindness disarms aggression not through weakness, but through its ability to break the cycle of hostility and create space for understanding, calm, and resolution. When confronted with aggression, the natural reflex is to meet it with a similar force, to protect oneself and restore a sense of control. However, this reaction often leads to an escalation of the conflict. What begins as a small disagreement can quickly spiral into a confrontation that harms both parties, sometimes in ways that are irreversible. Kindness, on the other hand, offers a subtle yet effective way to de-escalate such situations. Rather than fueling the fire, kindness acts as a fire extinguisher. It interrupts the aggression and shifts the focus away from conflict toward resolution. Kindness. One of the most remarkable aspects of kindness is its ability to surprise. Aggression is expected, even provoked, but kindness is often disarming because it is rare and disarming in its nature. When someone expects a fight and instead receives a calm, thoughtful response, they are taken aback. It forces them to reconsider their behavior and often brings them face to face with their own actions. This can create an opening for them to step back, reflect, and reconsider their approach. Kindness also carries with it a deep sense of empathy. When we choose kindness in the face of aggression, we are not simply seeking to neutralize the situation, but to understand it. Often, aggression is a reflection of the aggressor's own pain, frustration, or fear. Responding with kindness acknowledges this underlying struggle. By choosing empathy over anger, we demonstrate that we are not only willing to listen, but also to help alleviate the source of their distress. This doesn't mean condoning their behavior, but understanding that their aggression often stems from a deeper wound that needs healing. End of poem. Furthermore, kindness has the power to shift the dynamics of a situation. It places the aggressor in a position where they are forced to reassess their actions. In responding with kindness, we maintain our integrity and remain in control of the interaction. We do not allow the negativity of others to dictate how we respond. Instead, we choose to remain grounded in compassion, offering a model of behavior that promotes understanding over conflict. In the end, kindness disarms aggression because it does something that aggression cannot. It opens the door to connection and resolution. While anger and hostility drive wedges between people, kindness builds bridges. It allows for communication to flow freely, breaks down the walls of defensiveness, and creates a foundation for healing. It does not come from a place of submission, but from strength. Strength in our ability to rise above the instinctive urges of anger, and instead respond in a way that fosters peace and understanding. Kindness, in this way, is not a passive response, but an active force for positive change. When someone offends us, especially in a public or deeply personal way, it is easy to view them solely as the source of our pain. The sting of their words or actions can cloud our judgment, leading us to see them as the enemy, someone whose intentions are entirely malicious. But if we can pause and see beyond their behavior, we might uncover something far more complex and human beneath their aggression. To truly understand and disarm the effects of an offense, we must see the humanity in the offender, recognizing that their actions, however hurtful, are often born from their own struggles, vulnerabilities, and pain. Seeing the humanity in someone who offends us doesn't mean excusing their behavior or ignoring the harm they have caused. Instead, it means acknowledging that they too are shaped by their experiences, fears, and emotional burdens. Like us, they have faced difficulties in life, and their actions may reflect unresolved pain or insecurity. This recognition doesn't invalidate the hurt they have caused, but it shifts our perspective. It helps us see that their offense is often less about us and more about them. By seeing their humanity, we gain the ability to separate the person from their actions. People are not defined by their worst moments, and everyone carries within them the capacity for both good and bad. It is essential to remember that an offensive act is often a symptom of deeper issues. Someone who lashes out in anger may be struggling with feelings of inadequacy, fear, or past trauma. A person who belittles others may do so to cover up their own insecurities or to regain a sense of power they feel they have lost. Recognizing this does not mean condoning their actions, but helps us understand the context in which they operate. When we stop seeing them as mere antagonists and start seeing them as people with their own fears, struggles, and vulnerabilities, we disarm their power to control our emotions. This can even be the case with tempers ourselves, in the reflected process of making a greater commitment to mindfulness. Seeing the humanity in the offender also creates the possibility for compassion. This doesn't mean we must immediately forgive or forget, but it opens the door for empathy and understanding. It reminds us that everyone, including the person who hurt us, is trying to navigate the world in their own way. They may not be fully aware of the harm they have caused, or they may not know how to deal with their own pain. In this way, by choosing to see the humanity in them, we can approach the situation with kindness and patience, giving them the space to reflect and, perhaps, change their behavior. A study published in 2012 found that 15% of children in the UK were encouraged to show compassion and 10% to show emotional health. Moreover, when we look at an offender through the lens of their humanity, we free ourselves from the cycle of hatred or bitterness. Holding on to anger and resentment only perpetuates our own suffering. It keeps us trapped in a mental and emotional loop, unable to move forward. By recognizing the humanity in the offender, we allow ourselves to release that anger, to let go of the hold it has over us. This shift in perspective does not diminish the offense, but it does allow us to find peace in the midst of turmoil. In the end, seeing the humanity in an offender is not about excusing their behavior, but about freeing ourselves from the grip of anger, resentment, and pain. It allows us to respond with grace, empathy, and understanding, creating the possibility for healing, not just for ourselves, but also for the person who has wronged us. It is in recognizing their humanity that we reclaim our own power, not by retaliating, but by choosing to respond with dignity and compassion. In moments of challenge, adversity, or humiliation, the temptation to rely on external factors for validation or strength is overwhelming. We may look to the opinions of others, the approval of a crowd, or the material rewards of success to bolster our sense of worth. However, true strength lies not in what is external, but in the quiet fortitude within. Focusing on your inner strength means recognizing that your value and resilience are not determined by outside circumstances, but by your own beliefs, values, and the depth of your character. Inner strength is a deeply personal and enduring resource. Unlike external validation, which can be fleeting and subject to the whims of others, your inner strength is a constant presence that exists independently of the world around you. It is rooted in the confidence you have in yourself, your principles, and your capacity to rise above difficulties. When you focus on your inner strength, you're not seeking approval from anyone. Instead, you rely on your own resolve, wisdom, and resilience to guide you through life's challenges. One of the key aspects of inner strength is self-awareness. To tap into this power, it is essential to have a clear understanding of who you are, what you stand for, and what drives you. Self-awareness helps you maintain a strong sense of direction and purpose, even when faced with external criticism or adversity. When you know who you are and what you believe in, no external force can shake your sense of self. This clarity allows you to respond to challenges with calmness, rather than reacting impulsively out of fear or insecurity. Another crucial element of inner strength is emotional resilience. Life will inevitably present difficulties, setbacks, and moments of failure. But how we respond to them is what defines our strength. Those with inner strength understand that failure is not a reflection of their worth, but a part of the learning process. They accept challenges as opportunities for growth, using each obstacle as a stepping stone to greater understanding and personal development. Emotional resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about enduring it with grace and learning from it. Moreover, focusing on your inner strength empowers you to control your response to external events. While we cannot always control what happens to us, we can control how we respond. The ability to choose your reaction in the face of adversity is a hallmark of inner strength. When others attempt to provoke, humiliate, or undermine you, the power lies in how you decide to respond. Will you allow their actions to dictate your emotions and behavior, or will you rise above it, grounded in your own values and inner calm? Inner strength also fosters a sense of peace and self-acceptance. It is easy to become consumed by comparisons, striving for approval, or seeking external markers of success. But when you focus inward, you begin to realize that peace comes from within. You can find contentment in knowing that you are enough, regardless of external validation. This self-acceptance enables you to face life's challenges with confidence and a sense of inner peace, knowing that your worth is not determined by what others think or the circumstances you find yourself in. Self-acceptance is a principle that takes your thought processes and the circumstances. In the end, inner strength is about reclaiming your power from the external world and turning inward for guidance, resilience, and peace. It is the unwavering belief that you have the resources within you to navigate any difficulty, overcome any obstacle, and emerge stronger on the other side. By focusing on your inner strength, you learn to rely on yourself, trust in your abilities, and maintain a sense of dignity and peace, no matter what life may throw your way. Leadership is often thought of in terms of titles, power, and authority. We tend to associate it with those who hold high-ranking positions or those who can command others to follow. However, true leadership comes not from imposing your will on others, but from leading through your actions, setting an example that others are naturally drawn to. When you lead by example, you don't have to demand respect or loyalty. You earn it, simply by living in alignment with your values and demonstrating the principles you wish to see in others. But if you wish to receive the principles you wish to see in others, you have to recognize that even the slightest degree of insignificance is enough to trip up most of the time. Leading by example begins with integrity. It means living according to the values you espouse, even when no one is watching. When you act with honesty, fairness, and consistency, you set a standard for others to follow. People are more likely to respect and emulate your behavior when they see that you walk the talk, rather than merely preach what you believe. The strength of your example lies in its authenticity. If your actions align with your words, others will notice, and they will be more inclined to follow your lead. If your disengagement presupposes other people's presence or authority, another important aspect of leading by example is showing resilience in the face of adversity. Life is full of challenges, and how you handle them speaks volumes about your character. When faced with difficulties, those around you are observing how you respond. Do you give in to frustration and defeat? Or do you face obstacles with patience and determination? Leading by example in tough times means showing others that setbacks are a part of life, and that it is possible to stay grounded and positive even in the face of adversity. It demonstrates that true strength lies not in avoiding challenges, but in overcoming them with grace and perseverance. One of the most powerful aspects of leading by example is its ability to inspire others. When you consistently demonstrate kindness, fairness, and a strong work ethic, you motivate those around you to do the same. Your behavior becomes a model for others to emulate. Whether you realize it or not, people are constantly watching, and your actions influence them more than your words ever could. By embodying the qualities you wish to see in others, you create a ripple effect that extends beyond you, encouraging others to adopt similar behaviors. Furthermore, leading by example helps create a positive environment where people feel safe and supported. When you demonstrate respect for others, listen attentively, and act with empathy, you set the tone for a culture of mutual respect. Your actions cultivate trust, which is the foundation of strong relationships and productive communities. People are more likely to follow a leader who treats them with dignity and fairness. Ultimately, leading by example is about influence, not control. True leaders do not need to demand loyalty or obedience. They inspire it through their actions. When you consistently live according to your values and demonstrate integrity, resilience, humility, and respect, you naturally draw others toward you. Leading by example not only shapes the behavior of others, but also strengthens your own character, fostering a sense of fulfillment that comes from knowing you are making a positive impact on those around you.